This is part A of the KhoodeelaarTV television channel broadcast under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto Editions. This one is timed at 0940 GMT on Sunday the 26th of May 2024. This is a campaign called KhoodeelaarTV, defending the community in the East End of London, defending against the government, United Kingdom government, and the particular defense of the community against the government plan to dig a hole in the middle of Brick Lane, London E1. The defense of that campaign, of the community in that campaign against the hole, was successful. I organized it. But a lot remains to be done in continuing, completing, and updating the defense of the community. And the inclusion of the Baby Angel Geronimo is done on the evidence of the innocence of the Baby Angel Geronimo. Baby Angel Geronimo is an alpaca who was born in New Zealand and was raised by a woman who has and had other alpacas, Leonie Walker. And Leonie Walker regrets, and she will regret to the last day of her life on the planet Earth, the fact that she allowed Baby Angel Geronimo to be parted from her and be sent to England. As soon as Baby Angel Geronimo arrived in the United Kingdom, at the invitation of a woman called Helen MacDonald, who is also an alpaca breeder, the nightmare began. Baby Angel Geronimo is perfectly innocent, perfectly healthy, and absolutely beyond any criticism in terms of fitness. And yet the criminals, the depraved personnel, humans, staffing the DEFRA organization in the United Kingdom, decided to mount a campaign of harassment against the Baby Angel Geronimo, demonizing him, falsely accusing him of being unwell, unfit, infected with bovine tuberculosis, which he never was infected with, which he never could be infected with. So the struggle began for Helen MacDonald to protect this baby against the evilness, the Faustian criminals at DEFRA. And Helen MacDonald, like Leonie Walker in New Zealand, will never, ever overcome the shock, the trauma, and the stress that she was caused by the evil, depraved DEFRA. My understanding is that Helen MacDonald, even after several years of getting vindication from various witnesses and sources that Baby Angel Geronimo was never infected, she is still suffering from trauma. and she will never, I don't think, overcome the impact and the effect of the stress that she has been caused herself. The targeting of baby angel Geronimo by the evilness at DEFRA at the time, well, at least at the time that we first became aware of the baby angel Geronimo's existence in 2021, the targeting of baby angel Geronimo was done at a time which was like 2017 or thereabouts. As soon as he arrived in the United Kingdom and started living in his special enclosure built for him by Helen MacDonald in South Gloucestershire, in southwest England. The targeting of baby angel Geronimo was done at a time when in the general public news there wasn't the kind of preponderance of public inquiries that is the position now. Currently, there are two, or shall we say three serious public inquiries. Let's say four. Let's say five. One is Hillsborough massacre of the football fans. One is the massacre of the people at Grenfell Tower in 2017, in June 2017. One is the massacre of thousands of people contaminated, who have been injected with contaminated blood products, contaminated blood. One is the COVID. Thousands and thousands of people were massacred by the UK government. There is soon going to be other, or one more at least, about sewage in the water. And then there is this post office corruption, the prosecution of thousands of innocent postmistresses, sub-postmistresses, and sub-postmasters. So when the actual targeting of baby angel Geronimo began in 2017 or thereabouts, there weren't other points of reference to point the finger of blame, accusation against the criminals making the decisions in various parts of the UK government, UK state. So Helen MacDonald began the uphill battle to protect the baby angel Geronimo against the might of the huge bureaucracies. And she didn't have the kind of reference point that I have mentioned that exists now. The fact that the post office scandal has forced the UK government currently, the apologies that have been issued by the UK government by Rishi Sunak. This is an unprecedented situation. Nothing like this happened before. And the fact that 10 billion pounds has been already begun to be paid to the victims of the blood scandal, contaminated blood scandal, is also unprecedented in the history of the UK. And the fact that Paula Benales, the chief executive, in control for a substantial period of time of the post office when the sub-post mistresses and sub-post masters were being persecuted wrongly. Paula Benales staged breaking down in tears during the last week when over 3 days she gave evidence. Most of those were aggravated lies on top of the lies that she had already perpetrated before she appeared and before this scandal became known. So Baby Angel Geronimo is somebody that we are upholding, we are standing by, and we send to the Baby Angel Geronimo spiritually and morally and ethically and emotionally the largest number of hugs and millions and millions of blessings and best wishes for the Baby Angel Geronimo. And we shall continue to love the Baby Angel Geronimo. The picture that you see on the screen on the right, on my left as you look at the screen, is a picture, a still picture that has been taken from the internet, and we are using this because there are literally thousands and thousands of images, but this one is a simple one, and the Baby Angel Geronimo is seen at a moment it was captured. He was almost running. The healthiest Baby Angel Geronimo. So the Baby Angel Geronimo is the symbol, and we shall be updating regularly. Manifesto, we are adding to the manifesto contents that are coming out in terms of principles that we want to add coming out of the inquiries and the revelations and the confessions used, perpetrated by Paula Benales and others. Moving to the newspapers, today's newspapers, of course, well, today's Sunday papers and the yesterday's Saturday papers, we pay particular attention to the magazines because unlike the so-called news, the magazines tend to contain features that are paced in a different way than the news items. And one of the items that is, well, the main item on the cover story on the Sunday Times magazine is, of course, about Carrie Fisher. And they describe it as a wild life of Carrie Fisher by her best friend. Now, Carrie is not around to comment on what her alleged best friend is saying about her. It is quite possible that a lot of things that are being said by her alleged supposed best friend might be open to question had Carrie been around herself. There is also a feature piece promoting Mishal Hussain. who, they say, has been digging into her grandparents' dramatic survival of the partition of India while looking to her own future. Mishal Hussain is a presenter on the Today program. We shall be talking about Mishal Hussain in due course later in this piece, or if not possible, in other pieces later in later editions. Now, the Sunday Times has got the magazine, and then the Culture magazine, and the Style magazine, three of those. And in the Culture magazine, there is a woman on the cover called Leah Seydoux. It's a French woman with the spelling Leah, L-E-A, Seydoux. On Hollywood versus France, Me Too, and poking fun at herself. Now she appears to be eating chips. And she has got a smile in that picture. As a photographer, I would say, is totally infectious. And she probably is personally as attractive in terms of being personable as she comes across in that picture. I would easily choose her as a model for a photograph for many things. Infectious appearance is what she has. Now, in the book section on the Culture magazine, there is a thing, a review by Hitler Hastings. Hitler Hastings reviewed a book by John Kisley, General Hastings' pug, Ismay, soldier, statesman, and diplomat. And in the review on the second page of the review, they have a rare photograph of four men looking on the left. From the left is Nehru, India's Nehru, and Ismay himself, and then Mountbatten. And the last on the right is Jinnah at a conference on partition in 1947. Now, Mishal Hussain is, of course, talking about her grandparents' survival of the partition. Notice the word partition. In the British media and the British media influenced language, narratives, they don't use the word independence, liberation, or freedom from the British Empire. They call it partition. It's a completely corrupt, criminal, racist, and as the narratives reinforced by the Midnight's Children, written by Saidan Rushdie, the actual onus, the condemnation for the partition is placed squarely with Muslims. Now, anyone who has observed the subcontinent of the last nearly 80 years since 1947 August 1947. Anyone who has actually observed the facts and the events internationally and regionally in the subcontinent will know that the so-called partition was imposed by the Brahmins, and Nehru being the representative of the Brahmins. The Nehru family paved the way for the direct, aggressive Hindutva regime that has been in place now for the last 10 years. And it is likely that the Hindutva regime will continue. Now, in the actual news of the weekend, well, there is a Saturday Review that comes with the Times. And here is a picture of two really grotesque races that the British media, the establishment, keeps promoting. These two grotesque races have been physically resident at number 12, Fournier Street, which is almost literally opposite number 39 Fournier Street, which has been the address of the Bangladesh Welfare Association, which has been murdered by the criminal gangs that have held on to the building's control. These two races, grotesques, Gilbert and George, they are the filthiest, literally filthiest. And this latest promotion of them by a racist called Lauren is not different. The promotion, the latest one before this one, the big one, was in the Financial Times a few months ago. When I crossed them, passed them many times in the mornings on Brick Lane, they would not look. They would not look at all. I passed them many times in the morning in Brick Lane, especially when I daily mobilized the community campaign, defending the community. Now, if my campaign had not been successful and the hole had been dug, these two criminals absolutely would have lost their home, because it would be that near, that close to the space that the hole would be dug only a few yards from their address at Fournier Street. But these criminals have never, ever come across as residing on the same planet as the Bangladeshis. And the only reference that this racist Lauren Freeman makes of Brick Lane is totally in denial of the community that I have been defending. The community that took its foundation about 100 years ago, when people, including some of my relations, left the sea, left the ships, and settled in what is Brick Lane now. And one of my relations was among the 4 or 5 people who helped other arrivals, mainly from the same area, Silot. I spell S for sugar or S for Silot, EELOT, Silot. It can be separated as also meaning see lot, see everything. So the area that is Brick Lane has been targeted for direct attack and indirect attack by the criminals in the British media and the British establishment. And the difference between the word Spitalfields and the name Brick Lane, the Brick Lane name as opposed to the name of the street, Brick Lane, the name of a neighborhood. Spitalfields denotes and connotes and is associated with the Anglican Church and the actual structure, architectural structure, Spitalfields Christian building there. Whereas Brick Lane connotes and denotes the settlement of Siloti origin people that were part of the British occupied subcontinent at the time, and then they became part of the East Pakistan population for the period 1947 till 16th of December 1971. And then since 16th of December 1971, they have been part of Bangladesh. None of these events is recognized either in this piece on the Saturday Review by Lauren Freeman, nor anywhere else. In fact, the Sunday Times of 2nd of December 1973, less than 2 years after Bangladesh was recognized as an independent state, mounted a comprehensive attack and named the targets as Silotis, backward Silotis, and accused the people of Sylhet living in the United Kingdom, in Brick Lane, in Tower Hamlets, of not even bothering to know about the alleged war of liberation that was going on back in East Pakistan. An absolute, utter lie. My relations, including my father, were active organizers of support for the cause of Bangladesh in London in 71. So the attack in the Sunday Times magazine of the 2nd of December 1973 was a typical agenda to demonize, to defame, to deny the contribution made by the Silotis, Muslims, Bangladeshis. So stupid was the thinking that they fabricated an alleged shortcoming, cultural shortcoming, by saying that back home the Silotis that were settled in Brick Lane often ate banana plants Now that's a vegetable. How could that be part of a shortcoming? But that was evident as proof of the agenda to demand, to demonize the Silotes. Now, when Paula Banels staged the breaking down and cried during her appearance before the inquiry, the post office inquiry, she did that to gather support, sympathy for the people watching. If the chief bat at the depraved DEFRA were to face such an inquiry, it is an interesting issue. How would she present her emotional vulnerability? Reluctant, of course, recognition of her crimes committed against the baby angel Geronimo. Now, in the Sunday Times news pages, they've got items like the one by the son of a Pakistani father and a white mother and a mental slave, criminal, Matthew Saeed, saying in the headline, Britain is no longer a serious nation and we are not serious about fixing it. Well, if the sources of brainwashing were collected, let's say brainwashing of the Little Englanders of the last 100 years, then those given platforms to spew idiocies and lies, such as Matthew Saeed, would be at the top of the list for lying and brainwashing the people. Saeed is talking, of course, has been talking about the contaminated blood, the post office scandal, but none of them, neither Saeed nor Dominic Lawson, Lawson, Nigel Lawson's son, who has gotten a platform as well. Neither of them would be seen dead, recognizing the evilness done by the likes of Christian evilness at depraved DEFRA against the innocent baby angel Geronimo. So if it is true that we are not serious about fixing it, then the reason why the seriousness is absent is because of the liars like Matthew Saeed. First of all, spreading the lies and then damning the people who condemned the lies at the time, and then rushing to join the very people they have condemned in the past, saying that they needed to be vindicated. This applies every time, about every inquiry. We shall be talking more about this later today and in the later editions. This one is ending at 10 GMT at 35 minutes long on Sunday, the 26th of May, 2024.